For a government that calls itself liberal, the Trudeau government certainly makes some odd choices, particularly with Indigenous peoples. One of the first steps it took when achieving power in 2015 was to repeal the First Nations Financial Transparency Act that had been passed by the Harper government to fight corruption. That law had forced band leaders to make public where the money they received from the government was being spent. It's called accountability. This seemed like a very, very responsible piece of legislation because some, and certainly not all, but some impoverished bands without water and necessities were being lorded over by chiefs who were pocketing the cash. They were forced to reveal their spending, just like any government or public enterprise does as a matter of practice. The Liberals repealed this, so now many Indigenous people have no idea where their money has gone, once again. And now we hear that this same government has reached a deal with the hereditary Wet'suwet'en chiefs. But no details have been announced by the feds until it's approved by the various bands that comprise the Wet'suwet'en. They will know the terms immediately. It's going to be weeks for us to learn the terms. And until then, the barricades are still up. And now the minister has declared that this agreement does not deal with the pipeline. A deal without addressing the issues, the pipeline, and the barricades? What kind of deal is that? Does it not seem odd that one of the results of this deal is that the hereditary chief's power and position is strengthened because the elected officials have not been in the negotiations? To my mind, this seems ancient, seems undemocratic. Clearly, the protests of the last few weeks have shown a people who are divided. Some, not all, hereditary chiefs oppose the LNG pipeline, while each and every elected chief has signed on after extensive consultations. Some activists will argue that the Supreme Court of Canada decisions 1997 and 2014 decided that hereditary chiefs were given responsibility for land claims. But those decisions were about Indigenous title, not about Indigenous governance. It is clear that the Indigenous community is divided, not only about the pipeline, but also about who is in charge. And now the federal government is, by its negotiating strategy, deciding that the hereditary chiefs are the guys to make a deal with, leaving out those who have been elected. So why would the federal government put itself in a position of deciding who represents who? This will only deepen the divide within the Indigenous community. Do you wonder, even for a moment, whether our Prime Minister, the son of a former Prime Minister, has a preference for hereditary and entitled rule?